Hello viewers, please join us for yet another fun lesson in English writing. Today in Lesson 5, for our Grade 10 English as a Second Language learners, we are going to be talking about the strategies, plans, and tools that we can use in writing stories or text. We call these literary devices. As a lesson objective, we hope to enable you, by the end of the program, to be able to recognize and use these different literary devices in novels and in poems. Enjoy the program with us.
I'm a sensation, that's my declaration. With no hesitation, it's my reputation.
And what is that all about?
My lady, you're looking at the next best collaborator, music sensation in Namibia.
Okay, whatever. Do you want a sandwich?
Oh, yes, please. My dear, my darling, my donut.
Hey, easy on the choice of words there, okay? I'm nobody's donut. And if you want to be the next best rapper in town, you better pull up your socks in the language class.
Don't worry, I've got everything under control.
I hope so.
I started my rhymes last night. That's why you see me here rapping, collaborating. It's a rhyme scheme.
So, that's the purpose of all this rapping, to improve your English.
Yeah, mamacita.
That's good. Good. Nick, so what is a rhyme scheme?
It's how your rhyme works. Sometimes you have to end each line with words that sound the same.
I think they are called homophones, by the way. Words that sound the same.
Rose, please, don't turn this into another lesson. Just support me in what I'm trying to do, okay?
Ooh, the boy is so touchy.
Please. Anyways, these same sounding words are often used in poems and songs like mine. Where's Betty anyways? I'm sure she'll understand me better.
I'm sorry I spoiled your mood, Nick.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey guys.
Hey, Betty Maletsi.
You confused me with someone, Nick. My surname
Be careful. The man is an artist and so sensitive.
Bets, that was artistic licensing. The right of an artist to twist the ordinary slightly in order to make a point. And where were you? You're late.
I was chatting to Miss Dixie.
That boring teacher. I mean, she deserves a nickname, Miss Dictionary.
Hey, she's not boring, okay? She's good at what she does. Just so happens to be English literature.
And she's a sweet woman. I like her too.
Well, excuse me, I have somewhere else to be, so let me leave you two true minds alone.
Love is not love when its alter finds its alteration.
Oh dear, Nikki. You do have a shot of William Shakespeare in you. Since when have you become a poet? I'm sure when we left school yesterday afternoon, you were still normal.
Well, I have to study the different types of poems one finds.
Oh, Nick, you could have just asked. I happen to know them. We get ballads, lyrics, elegy, sonnets, and dramatic poems.
Oh, what are those? Wait, 5 types of poems? Yo, those could be very useful to me if I learned them. I could use them in writing my song.
Right. I'll explain. The types of poetry and verses we get, ballads, lyrics, elegy, sonnets, and dramatic poems, each of them brings a different mood to a poem. Like ballads are simple narrative poems, usually verses with 4 lines.
So a ballad simply tells a story with 4 lines. Do they rhyme?
It often does, but not necessarily. One type of ballad is the cinquin. This one is 5 lines. Shall I try one?
Oh, please do.
Here goes. Let's say you have a theme like a tornado. Now in the first line, you only have one word, the theme word, which is tornado. The second line consists of 2 words describing the theme. The tornado is a terrifying wind. In the third line, you have 3 words that in another way describe what it does. For example, swirling water waves. Now, the fourth line, we have 4 words, which in another way describes what it does. For example, how people respond to it. People fleeing in terror. And in the last line, you have 1 word, summing up all you described about the subject into 1 single word. Dreadful.
Wow, you have blown me away. It's so cool. Isn't it cool that there are such clear guidelines that could help a poet write? I could use any other theme and write a poem about it.
Well, there is quite another simple way to make a ballad.
Which is?
Let's say you're describing yourself to somebody using a poem. You could write your name vertically, Nikki, Nickey, and use each of the letters in your name to start a description of yourself with. Okay, like this. This time you can have any number of words in a line, okay? So, Nicky boy. Iron muscles. Clever at words. Kicks back at criticism. Entertainer in development. You've got to meet him.
Wow, you have summed me up perfectly.
I'm glad you like it. Well, let me tell you briefly about other types of poems apart from the ballad. The lyrical poem is very popular. Poets often like to write about love or nature.
Yeah, like me. I wrote about love.
Yes. Well, an elegy again is a sad poem. Like a person longing for someone else or feeling lonesome.
Yeah, there are a lot of sad songs going around. And you say they're made in elegy style.
Yes. And the sonnet? Shakespeare was famous for his sonnets. A sonnet has 14 lines on a single theme.
Oh, that is long. I don't think I could ever say that much about a single theme.
Don't say that. You can do it.
But when you speak of a theme, we're speaking about the topic, right?
Yes. The theme is the subject, the idea, or the topic that the story or poem is about. It is the message in short.
But a sonnet is still too long. 14 lines. It's like writing an essay.
Well, many people feel inspired by love or by nature or God. It is easier for people to say a lot on their favorite topic or to sing about it.
Yeah, if you put it that way, I guess I can understand how someone would be able to write such a long poem or song. What else is there though?
Well, there's the epic. The epic is a very long poem that tells us about heroic deeds.
Are you guys still busy with different types of poems?
Yes, there are actually more types of poems, but we have covered most. But I thought maybe, Nikki, you might also be interested in the different types of novels one gets.
Well, you know, with us artistic types, we could move from songs to poems to movies. If you have it in your blood, then...
Oh, you mean different types of novels, right?
Yes, but let's go somewhere where we can get a drink. I didn't know Nick was gonna make me talk all day.
All right, come.
Anyway, so yes, there are different types of novels too. We get fiction, comedy, drama, thrillers, horrors, and so on.
But those are all movies, right?
Yes, girly. All movies are made.
Who are you calling a girly?
Don't ever call me girly again, okay?
Okay, girls, I'm sorry. I mean, Rose, Betty, I'm sorry. What I was going to say was, as far as I know, all movies are made from stories from books.
Yes, and on that, you're right. These are the types of novels, of books and stories. We get fiction and non-fiction.
Yes, fiction is based on imaginary or made-up events, while non-fiction deals with real events and people, you know, although names might be disguised to protect the actual people.
Good. Team, what's a comedy?
Duh, that's simple. A comedy is funny. A comedy is a story or a movie or a play that's full of jokes and humor. It's made to make people laugh.
Well explained, Nick. What about a drama?
A drama has different facets, okay? It can be both sad, humorous, or tragedy, you know? A fully developed story which is in a book, a theater play, or a movie. That's a drama.
Although you haven't mentioned horror yet. A horror is a story with frightening and strange things. I love those.
I hate horrors. I'll never watch them. I mean, I don't see the point of making myself scared.
Horrors? Oh no, I don't watch them. Here's some drinks, guys.
Thanks, eh?
Thanks, Betsy.
Viewers, so far we have looked at the different types of poems and the different types of novels. Now let us take a closer look at the elements within a novel. Any novel, regardless of whether it is a comedy, drama, horror, or tragedy, all possess the following characteristics: the setting, plot, characterization, theme, point of view, mood, and style. Now let us take a closer look at what these things really are. The setting refers to the location in which the story takes place, and the location can be in several places. The plot refers to the storyline in the novel, from beginning to the end. The characters and the style refer to the people and topics that are presented to the readers, listeners, and viewers. The protagonist is the main character, and also is accompanied by several supporting characters. The theme is the main idea or message in the novel. Along with these elements, there are several other elements: point of view, mood, and style. The point of view is the position in which the writer takes when writing. The writer may choose to take the first person I, or the third person he, she, or they when writing. Here we refer to the point of view from which the story is told. The mood is the atmosphere within the novel which the writer paints to capture the interest of the readers, listeners, and viewers by using elements such as humor, mystery, or horror. Lastly, the style tells us about the form of writing the author uses to tell the story, such as imagery, or stories rich in narration or dialogue, or other forms in which the author may use vocabulary, the way in which he or she uses words. Some African authors use a lot of proverbs to paint a vivid picture for the readers.
Okay, you're asking what type of vocabulary the writer uses in order to write a novel. Well, we call that the figure of speech. The word speech does not refer to the speaking in the story, and the word figure does not have anything to do with numbers or drawings.
Whose idea was that?
Whoever it was, figure of speech has come to mean the type of word pictures that writers use to paint us the images they want us to see. These kinds of pictures are similes, metaphors, personification, and alliteration. But I must say, I find this quite hard.
What? Have you seen a ghost or something?
Hi, Miss Diction. I mean, Miss Johnson. Hi.
Good day, children. Elizabeth Trout, I'm so disappointed. Why do I see you at midday lounging around in a public place?
Good day, ma'am. We're struggling with literature. Would you please help us? I'll go get a drink for you.
Well, absolutely, child. Why didn't you say so? Come on, sit down. Let's start right away. We'll start with a little poem.
Ma'am, we're actually...
Good day, Nicholas. Oh, I see you're properly dressed for a change. Well done, my boy. And you have Rosemary here as well. It's about time the child fathoms the importance of the language.
Good day, ma'am.
All right, children, let's start right away. First things first. Literature has a very important...
Sorry, ma'am. We were hoping you'd advise us about figure of speech in novel writing. Please, if you would.
My goodness, child, why didn't you say so? Figures of speech it is then. Children, are you sure you've covered all other aspects?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Figures of speech are different devices one has for working with literature. We should look at those frequently used.
Like a simile, right, ma'am? And the metaphor, anaphora?
Absolutely right, child. A simile is a stated comparison between two things where the writer uses like and as to compare two fundamentally different things that have certain qualities in common.
Ma'am, can I try an example? Slipping on a ceiling is like slipping on a cloud.
You know, of course, that the next figure of speech is the metaphor.
Ma'am, a metaphor is about two unlike things, right?
No, child. A metaphor gives an implied comparison between two unlike things that actually have something important in common. An example, Elizabeth?
She swims like a fish.
She swims like a fish? No way, ma'am. That's a simile.
Absolutely right, Rosemary. Elizabeth Trout, don't sit and sleep, child. The perfect example would be, she was a fish out of water.
No, that's right, ma'am.
The next figure of speech would be alliteration and personification. Nicholas?
Ma'am, alligatorism is...
Oh, my goodness.
Excuse me. Nicholas?
Excuse me, ma'am?
Alliteration. 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 What is that, boy?
Alliteration is the repetition of an initial consonant sound.
Say it, children. Say it.
Alliteration is the repetition of an initial consonant sound. For example, wide-eyed and wondering while we wait for others to waken.
I have another one for you. Betty bought butter, but the butter was bitter. So Betty bought better butter to make the bitter butter better.
Oh my goodness, I have to find a bathroom.
Wow, ma'am. That was a good one. You're very funny.
Well, since you all find everything so very funny, I will not endeavor to tell you what personification is. I'm sure it's a scream to you anyway. So I expect you to write out 20 times what personification is and have it on my desk first thing tomorrow morning. Good day, children. Oh, and hyperbole too, 20 times.
Yes, you know, that was by far the best laugh I've ever had there in the cafeteria yesterday.
But you must agree, she is a sweet woman. I like her better now than ever.
Me too. Hey, are you guys done with your writing work?
Of course, dear. Now I'm gonna read it for you guys. Personification, okay, is an inanimate or a lifeless object endowed by the writer with human qualities or abilities. Okay, this means that human characteristics are given to animals, objects, or ideas, right? This is often used in children's books or fictional literature. For example, this phrase, opportunity knocked on the door. Okay, the sun greeted me this morning and the sun played hide and seek with the clouds.
Okay, that's good. I'll do the hyperbole, which is an outrageous exaggeration that emphasizes a point.
Okay.
For example, you snore louder than a freight train. You could have knocked me over with a feather.
Well done, guys. We are ready for her.
Of course.
Just don't laugh again.
I'll try not to.
This wraps up the final lesson in our 5-part series on English as a second language for grade 10 JSE learners. But don't leave just yet. We have an SMS competition. And the rules are as follows. Send the SMS to the number 5003. And in the message box underneath the number, type in the keyword for today's program, which is literary. Then pick between A, B, or C, but remember to choose only one option, please. There is a prize for the winner, and the question is, a sonnet has A, 3, B, 14, or C, 7 lines in a single theme. We look forward to hearing your answer. And until next time, from all of us here at NAMCAL, goodbye and good luck.